Sometimes the people we take for granted are the very ones who carried us through life. And sometimes the truth about them is far bigger than we could ever imagine. Today, I'll tell you a story about a stepfather who gave everything to his stepdaughter, only to be abandoned when he needed her most. But here's the twist. The man she thought was just an ordinary stepdad was hiding a secret fortune all along. When Mia was just 6 years old, her father walked out of her life. Her mother struggled, working long hours to keep food on the table. Then came Daniel, a quiet, kind-hearted man who married Mia's mother and promised to treat Mia like his own. Daniel wasn't flashy. He wasn't rich. At least that's what everyone thought. He worked an ordinary job at a small hardware store, always wearing the same old pair of boots and a faded jacket. But what Daniel lacked in wealth, he made up for in love. He was there for every school project, every parent-teacher conference. He sat in the bleachers during her ballet recitals, cheering louder than anyone else. When Mia was sick, it was Daniel who stayed up all night, holding her hand and reading stories until she fell asleep. To Mia, he was never just stepdad. He was simply dad, at least for a while. As Mia grew older, things changed. She started to notice that her friends had fathers who drove luxury cars, wore expensive watches, and took their kids on vacations overseas. Daniel, meanwhile, dropped her off in an old pickup truck that coughed and sputtered. By high school, Mia started to feel embarrassed. She would tell her friends, "Oh, that's just my stepdad. My real dad doesn't live with us." Those words cut Daniel like a knife, but he never showed it. Instead, he kept supporting her, paying for her school books, skipping his own needs just to buy her a prom dress she loved. When college applications came, Daniel worked double shifts just to help cover the fees. He never complained. All he wanted was to see Mia succeed. But when Mia finally got into a good university, everything changed. She met new friends from wealthy families, people who lived in mansions, who never worried about bills. Slowly, Mia stopped answering Daniel's calls. He would text her, "How are you, kiddo?" and get no reply. On holidays, she was too busy to come home. By the time she graduated, she barely acknowledged him. One day, Daniel's health began to decline. Years of hard work had taken a toll. He reached out to Mia, asking if she could visit, maybe help him with doctor's appointments. But Mia ignored him. She was chasing a corporate career, mingling with high society friends, and the man who had raised her didn't fit into that picture anymore. Eventually, she cut him off completely. A few years later, news spread through town. Daniel had passed away quietly in his small, humble home. Mia felt almost nothing. She hadn't spoken to him in years. But then, something unexpected happened. A lawyer contacted her, requesting her presence at the reading of the will. Reluctantly, she went. The lawyer began, "Your stepfather, Daniel, left behind something for you." Mia frowned. What could a poor man possibly leave behind? Maybe a few $100s, maybe his rusty truck. But then the lawyer opened a folder, slid over some documents, and Mia's world turned upside down. Daniel wasn't just a hardware store worker. That was his disguise. Behind the scenes, he was a silent investor in multiple companies. He had inherited land decades ago, which later became the site of luxury developments. His fortune, worth over $40 million. Mia sat frozen. The man she had abandoned, the man she had been ashamed of, was a secret billionaire. The lawyer continued, "He left you a letter." Mia unfolded the paper with trembling hands. In Daniel's familiar handwriting, it read, "Dear Mia, from the moment I met you, I knew I would love you like my own. I never cared about money, I only cared about you. I kept my fortune hidden because I wanted you to value people for who they are, not what they have. I always hoped you'd stand by me even without riches. I leave this to you not as payment, but as a reminder. Never forget those who loved you when they had nothing. Tears streamed down Mia's face. She had abandoned the one man who never abandoned her, and now it was too late to say sorry. Mia inherited the fortune, but money couldn't fill the emptiness in her heart. She had all the wealth she once craved, yet she felt poorer than ever, because she realized the true treasure she lost was Daniel's love. The world saw Daniel as an ordinary man, but in truth, he was extraordinary, not because of his money, but because of his heart. And Mia's story reminds us, never take for granted the ones who stand by you when you have nothing, because sometimes their true worth is far greater than you could ever imagine.